There's truly no place that a young producer in the United States could go buy a piece of land and go buy a set of cows and make that work. It's impossible.
If you're a producer who has reduced your herd in the last 5 years for whatever reason, it'd be drought or economic hardship, looking at getting back in or rebuilding your herd right now, it's almost too tall of a mountain to try to overcome. You're talking about borrowing money at 7, 8, 9% interest. On top of that, the price of replacement cattle are extremely high right now.
My parents moved here when I was 2 years old. Our family's been here since 1865 in Benton County. And when I was a kid growing up, that was a 100-stall dairy right over there and 1 chicken house. And then when I left to go to college, the dairy was shut down and Dad had transitioned over to a Brangus commercial cattle herd. And after a few years at the fire department, I moved back out here and kept working at Fayetteville Fire and started farming with Dad and raising cattle, and eventually got to the point where I was ready to retire and came home, and we're running about 50 head of registered Brangus cows and about 70 head of commercial Brangus cattle.
The American beef industry kind of runs in a 10-year cycle. So where we're at right now is the low point in the cycle as far as inventory. And then if you compare that to the supply and the demand, our supply is at a very low point. Meanwhile, the demand hasn't really changed.
The last time we got in this situation, we had a lot of drought in 11 and 12 and 13 and saw these same kind of price levels in 2014. As we went into 15, the bottom started dropping out of that thing. We saw heifer retention. And it went from being pretty profitable in 2014 to making a little bit of money in 15 and 16. And by the time we got to 2017, 2018, it had gotten to where most producers were either trying to break even or lose money. In 2014, anything you see in this land around here, moving to the west side of Benton County, you could have purchased for $5,000 an acre. Today, last fall, that piece of property right over there where that White House is, that sold for $40,000 an acre. We've seen an 800% price increase in our lands. So we can't buy more land. It's more difficult to rent land. So our cost of production has went way up.
Weather has played a big part this go around. If you look back to 2022 and 2023, we had some pretty severe drought. Not only in the Arkansas or the southeast, but kind of all across the country at different times. A drought resulted in a lot of people not having the hay and the pasture to feed the animals, which you saw pretty big sell-offs and reduction of breeding animals, which in return reduces the number of animals we have in feedlots and is going to reduce the amount of beef we have available.
When the tornadoes come through in Memorial Day weekend, that's when the water taps shut off. So everybody had a great first cut in the hay, and then it was over. We were lucky and got some ryegrass in the ground about Halloween and then got some rains on it. So we've got some spring grazing that most people don't have. The biggest difference in today and why we're not seeing that curve go the other way and why I don't think that we're gonna see the prices fall for a little while, there's zero heifer retention right now. We saw an 11% decline in heifer retention in 2024. That's not nationwide with the commercial herds and everything, but we're seeing absolutely no growth. We're seeing about 35% of the cattle in the feed yard are actually heifers right now. And until we see that number really move and change, this is gonna stay that way. And a lot of it is the difference in cost. We're in as good a spot as we can get. Input costs are not going to go down. They're going to stay the same or they're gonna go up. So prices need to stay at the level that we are at right now for us to be able to balance out the operating loans that everybody took out to make it to this point. So there's not really the ability to go expand right now, also because you're trying to pay off debt. And talking to other people in their 40s like I am, you're just trying to come out of this thing hopefully balanced and at zero.
I think the ranchers are gonna have to try to make the most of what they can right now and ride out the cycle a little bit. For consumers, they're gonna have to stay patient with American ranchers and hope that we can kind of get our beef cattle population taken care of in a reasonable manner.
I hope our kids are still able to raise beef cattle and do this for a living as they reach the age of doing it.